Do you guys like throwing these bad boys, Senkos? Well, we got another great video all about Senkos, and I bet you this little tip you might have not done. But here we go, y'all. Whee! Okay, guys. So first we're gonna break down a little bit of the day on the lake. We went out this day specifically and it was a pretty big grind that day. I mean, it usually is on Lake Marburg, but this day it was a little extra of a grind. Couldn't get anything on a moving bait kind of bite, and I ended up doing this and figured out that it worked very well. You just have to have a little bit of patience to do it. But we're gonna break down what we did all throughout the day, and then we're gonna get into the big tip at the end. But here we go, y'all. Oh, guys, we haven't been to the lake for quite a while, so we're out here now. We're gonna give it a try and see what happens. Stay tuned. We'll catch back up with you when we get fishing. So first, I start out with the spinnerbait. That's just one of my go-to search baits and trying to pick off a couple fish baits. So I start with that. Then I pick up the glide bait for a little bit, start throwing that around. And then I notice a insane commotion over to the shoreline a little bit and see a bunch of striper busting on some bait. So I throw at them quick and try to catch them, but obviously they weren't having none of anything I was throwing or that I had at the ready. Watch this. I decide to finally pick up the Senko now. You kind of hear me say to myself, watch this. I'm going to end up catching them on a dumb Senko now today, I bet. Now, real key what I'm doing with this Senko is I am letting it sink all the way to the bottom. We're fishing in about 25 to 30 foot of water in most of the areas here. So I'm letting it sink all the way to the bottom. Yes, it takes painfully long and it takes a lot of patience. But once it gets down there on the bottom, I'm just picking the rod up ever so slightly and just jiggling it a tiny bit. Just enough that my bait probably isn't coming any more than 6 inches off of the bottom. And that's really, really subtle, and a lot of times if you can get that in front of a fish's face, you can get one to bite it. Oh, there's one. That's a big one. Oh man, that's a really big one. Heck yeah, guys. Look at that beast. That is what we come out here for, guys. Look at that absolute donkey. Heck yeah. Look at that beast. That's what we come out here for. It was a grind so far, but got this big girl. See what she weighs. Well, there we go, guys. It's a 594, almost 6-pounder. Heck yeah. All but 6. Absolute donkey. Heck yes. Well, guys, here we are at the end of this video where I break it down a little bit for you. As you see, we caught a pretty big one, almost a 6-pounder, and then we lost another one as well. But what I was doing was I was fishing this Senko in pretty deep water. I was fishing this Senko in around 25-30 foot of water mostly, and I was letting it sink all the way to the bottom. And now I was watching some of these fish on live scope, but I couldn't really see my Senko down there, but I was watching where these fish were, and I was trying to get the Senko as close to them as I could, or what I thought was close to them. Probably don't have my live scope settings totally right, or I would probably be able to see this. But what I was doing with this Senko is I was getting it as close to those fish as I thought I could get it, and then I was just popping it enough that I was only bringing this thing at most 6 inches up off the bottom. And I was doing a real subtle little shake with it and then let it sit for a second or two. And every fish that I got it around ended up biting it. But the little Senkos that I was using were the Bass Pro Shop Senkos. Just one of the favorite ones that I end up buying a lot of times because they're cheap for quite a lot of them. And for most of the techniques that I use, they work plenty fine. And the size hooks that I was using was the size 2 Wacky Nico hooks from VMC. But that was the big tip with these. I'm fishing these Senkos out in way deeper water, and that's a lot deeper water than most people will have the patience to fish a Senko because it takes so long to sink. It probably takes 2 to 3 minutes to sink, at least that deep. Sometimes maybe even a little bit longer, I'm just guessing. But it takes a good while to sink down that deep, and I've even done this technique out a little deeper yet in 50 foot of water, 55 foot of water, and it works. You just have to have the patience to do it. And if you have live scope and you can see the fish very, very well, then this is a killer technique for somebody like you. But you can do the same technique from the shore, you can do this from the boat, as long as you got decent access to deeper water. This is a really good technique, especially over the summer when these bass get sluggish. This was during the dog days of summer, so this wasn't the best bite period. But it's ended up working, and as you see, it caught us a big one. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Stay tuned for the next one, and get entered into my giveaway. As soon as we hit 2,500 subscribers, we're going to be doing a giveaway for a fishing trip with me. So to be entered in that, you got to be subscribed to the channel. You got to like this video. You can comment for another entry, and you can also share it on your social media pages for an entry as well. But we will see y'all next Thursday, guys. Tight lines.
And so passionate, every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it.